think it's not enough. I'm here to say that our faithfulness and our obedience is more important than our quantity. Let me say that again, that our faithfulness and our obedience is more important than our quantity. I dare to say that God can do so much with your little that it will blow your mind. God can do so much with your mustard seed faith that you could reap a harvest that you don't imagine, that you can't imagine. That God can do so much with your little that He can take your 10% and multiply it to cover all of your needs plus some. That God can do so much with your surrender, your little bit of surrender, that part that you keep into yourself. I want to encourage somebody to consider to offer that over to God and to see how He takes you to be a blessing to others, how He takes you to reach your community, how He takes you to be a witness to your children and to your family and in your work environment. When you surrender to God, that He opens up the doors, that He opens up possibilities, and that with a little, God can do a lot. I think that this parable teaches us, and it shows us that we don't have to have a lot to go before God, that we have what we have to go before God. And when you take what you have, whatever it is, see, quantity is relative. You see, for the person who is struggling, and maybe you make $20 an hour, maybe you make $30,000 a year. You see, the seed by sowing, let's just say of money, by sowing, you make $30,000 a year. And if to think about giving $15,000, whether it be back to the kingdom, back to the church, to the ministry, giving it to a charitable organization, $15,000 feels like a lot of money. That's quantity. $15,000 in proportion to what you make in a year. But take somebody who makes $1 billion a year. $15,000 is nothing. It is no sacrifice at all. It is just change. It is to the person who makes $30,000, maybe like giving $100. You see, quantity is relative. I think that God is asking for our sacrifice. God is asking, when we are faithful and obedient to what God calls us to, what He calls you to may be different than what He calls me to, or what He calls the next person to, but we are called to operate out of faith in that. We are called to operate out of obedience. And when we give God even what feels like a little, if that's what God tells you to do and tells you to give, that God has a way of taking that and multiplying it. I see God as a great multiplier in this scripture, because God can do a lot with a little. We are not to be concerned about how much. We are concerned about doing what God has instructed us to do, and allow that and that out of your place of faithfulness and sacrifice. Allow God to do what He does, which He multiplies. God will multiply your small seed of whatever that is, and He can turn it into a great harvest. I want to ask somebody, do you not offer to God because you think your offering is too small?